Hello and welcome back to Cooking by Zoe. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you on how to make steamed rice rolls with pork. These are rice wrapper, or I call them rice crepe, that are made fresh. And the filling of these, they are rolled with ground pork and wood ear mushroom, and they are usually eaten with a special tasty fish sauce topped with cilantro, green onion, fried onion, meatloaf, and optional is lettuce and bean sprout. These rice wrapper are usually made steam, traditionally using a steamer, a special equipment, but I unfortunately do not have that equipment, so I'm going to actually cook these rice wrapper on a crepe pan instead. To begin, we are going to soak our dried wood ear mushroom into a bowl of warm, hot sink water for 10 minutes. This is optional. I like to add this, but if you don't like this type of mushroom, you can just use ground pork by itself or meat of choice. So what I'm doing first is I'm going to give this a quick rinse, and I'm going to pour out this water, and then I'm going to add in new hot sink water, and I'll let this sit for 10 minutes. And while that's sitting, I will proceed with the rest of the ingredients on making this dish. Next, let's mix our batter together. There are a few steps to making the batter. The first step is to add in 1 bag of rice flour, which is 16 ounce, 1 bag of tapioca starch, which is 16 ounce as well, and then we will add in 10 cups of cold sink water. And once you add in all the water, you want to make sure that you mix these ingredients together very well. Make sure there is no clumps or lumps. So just continue mixing this, and you want to get all the way down to the bottom of the bowl as well. Once our mixture is mixed well, we're going to proceed with the next step. In the next step, we will take half a cup of this mixture, pour this into a non-stick pot or pan, and then to that mixture of that half cup, we're going to add in 3 cups of cold sink water. Okay, so just go ahead and take your whisk and just mix that together, and then place that on top of the stove. And over a medium-high heat, we are going to cook this for about 10 minutes until it starts to thicken. So just continue to mix. It's been almost 10 minutes and it's starting to thicken. So we want it just like that. So just like this type of texture. We don't want to cook it any more further than this. We don't want it to be too thick. And the next step is to go ahead and add this mixture back in with step number 1. Mix these together until they are mixed well. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and add in 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and a pinch of salt. And if you want more than 1 pinch, you can do 2 pinches of salt. I'm just doing 1 pinch of salt. Okay, so our batter's ready. So now we're going to go ahead and rinse our wood ear mushroom, and we are going to go ahead and dice these afterwards. So just squeeze the mushroom between your fingers, and we're trying to clean the mushroom up, and we want our water to run clear. So I'm going to do this 2 times. So we'll rinse that water out, put in some new water, and give it a little squeeze again, and then our water should be pretty much clear by this time, and we're good to go. So we'll go ahead and chop these up into dices. If you want to keep them as strip, that's up to you as well. When you're done dicing these, place it into a bowl because we're going to cook this with our pork in just a little bit. And after this, we're going to go ahead and chop up some green onion and cilantro. We want about 1 cup. You can add more or less or none. That's up to you. This will be added with the pork and the mushroom. Next, heat a large wok with 1 tablespoon of oil and add in your ground pork. I am using 4 pounds of ground pork. You can use other type of meats, but usually ground pork seems to be the tastier option based on my preference. So cook your ground pork until it cooks thoroughly, and then you'll add in salt to taste and 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. And if you don't want to add oyster sauce, you can just add salt. If you want, you can add black pepper as well. And then once you give this a good mix, you want to go ahead and add in your chopped wood ear mushroom and cook that for about 2 minutes. And then after 2 minutes, you want to go ahead and turn off the heat. And after you have turned off the heat, add in your cilantro and green onion, give it a mix, and then just set it aside. And we will go ahead and proceed with making our rice rolls. Next, set up your station to cook the rice wrapper and to roll the wrapper. I have a large foil sheet on top of my counter next to the stove. I have my batter, my crepe pan, and the filling. I am using an 8-inch nonstick crepe pan. Heat your pan over a medium-low heat. Let the pan sit over the heat for about 10 seconds before you add in the batter. Shake your pan back and forth so that all of the batter is covering the bottom portion of your crepe pan. Cover your pan with a lid and let this cook for 35 seconds, longer if needed. When cooked, remove the lid and flip the pan onto your work surface to remove the rice wrapper. Place a heaping spoonful of meat filling to your rice wrapper and then roll just how I'm showing in this video, similar to rolling egg rolls. And this is how you make steamed rice roll with pork. So let's go ahead and repeat the process. I like to spread the filling all over the center part of my wrapper, but you can do whatever you prefer. And I like to wrap it similar to how I wrap egg rolls. And if you don't want to put the ends in and you want to just leave it open, that's completely fine as well. So some important information is before you add in any batter onto your pan, it is very important that you give the batter mixture a good mix because a lot of the sediment of that flour may fall to the bottom. And so you want to make sure that you mix it very well before taking a spoonful and adding that onto your pan. You'll need to trial and error to find the right temperature and the timing to cook these rice wrapper. My timing may be different from yours. Also, if your temperature is on too high or you left the pan on for too long, when you add in the batter, you hear a loud sizzling. So you need to adjust the temperature and timing. If you have not put your pan on the heat for too long or your heat is too low, when you add the batter, it won't stick onto the pan right away. So that is also something to consider when you're trying to figure out the best temperature and timing to cook your wrappers. To know when your wrapper are cooked, when the lid is removed, you'll notice that the wrapper is starting to come apart from the pan, and also the color of the wrapper has a shine to it and it's starting to become a little more translucent. This is how you make steamed rice roll with pork filling. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. This is how I decorated my platter. This recipe made 3 of these platter, which is a large amount. So if you want to make less, you can always have this recipe. And for the fish sauce recipe, please check out my other tutorial on how to make. I will link the tutorial down below.